The West Indies selectors have named a 15-man squad for the A-team tour of Bangladesh, and 8 of those players in that squad I would not have selected. I do not understand the policy direction that why this team was selected. Why wasn't Brian Charles in this team? Why Naive Young and why Kavim Aj were unable to make this squad to tour Bangladesh? The policy is bewildered. The squad, it confuses me, and I'm asking the question, why are some of these players in the squad? Hello everyone and welcome to the show. Please slash a like on the video and click on the link in the video description. Mother's Day is next Sunday. There are some wonderful links in the video description where you can get great presents for your mother. Don't wait until it's too late. Get some presents for those special ladies in your life. Click on those links in the video description. Back in January of this year, when the week's Headley series was announced, Johnny Greaves, the CEO of West Indies Cricket, stated quite clearly that the weeks and Headley teams will be made up of the 4 players who were not playing in the last test match against South Africa. He made that very clear, plus the best performing players in the regional 4-day tournament. When the squads for the week's team was announced and the Headley teams were announced, we saw some players like Joshua De Silva, who was definitely in the Test 11, Tej Narayan Chandapal, who was definitely in the Test 11 in South Africa, Raymond Reefer. We saw those names being announced in the weeks and the Headley team. We saw players like Brian Charles, who was the second leading wicket taker in the recently concluded regional 4-day cricket tournament, being left out of these teams. Now, since that announcement was made in January, and the day that the teams were selected, there was a change in the presidency of Cricket West Indies. Now, if Dr. Shallow, and by the way, I don't know if any of you have heard from Dr. Shallow since he became president, but I've certainly not heard a word out of his mouth. Not even a thank you speech. Not even a thank you speech have I heard from Dr. Shallow. And I'm not saying that I do hear everything. No, I don't hear everything. But maybe some of you have heard a thank you speech or something from Dr. Shallow. I have not heard a word out of Dr. Shallow's mouth since he became president of Cricket West Indies. Now back to the point. This policy direction that the team will be selected from those who do not play in the test match and the best performing players in the regional 4-day tournament was announced under Ricky Skerritt. The team was now picked under the direction when Dr. Shallow was president. If there's a change in direction, we should have known. You cannot change the policy without informing the stakeholders. Life just doesn't go like that. Business does not go like that. And so if there was a change in policy, Dr. Shallow should have come out. This is what Desmond Haynes said after he picked the team in a press release. We selected a group of players who we think could benefit from the exposure in Bangladesh. Fine. You are going to select players. And we also have our eyes on the upcoming test series against India in the Caribbean. So that's why they selected players probably like Da Silva, Atanase, Gudakesh Moti, Anderson Phillips, Reefer. Well, what about, and you look at that and you ask the question, what about Ruston Chase? Has West Indies done with Ruston Chase? Now, mark you, I am not one who thinks that Ruston Chase should be in the West Indies team. He should be far, far from it. But my impression is that they have not selected Chase because Chase is a certainty for the test squad. That's my impression. It's the same way that Blackwood is a certainty for the test squad and they did not select him. I am here thinking that why Chase was not selected in any of the week's Headley team is that he is a certainty for the test squad. And that will be very, very sad because Chase should be nowhere near the West Indies test squad. I look at someone like Brian Charles, who was not named, as I said, in the weeks, any of the week's Edley team. Why was Brian Charles never named? In the last 18 match that the West Indies played, Brian Charles did fairly well. As a matter of fact, he did more than fairly well. Why is he not in this A-team squad? Why was he not selected for the week's Edley series? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered by the selection of this team. There are players in this team who their even most loyal supporters would be surprised that they were named. There are a number of players here that I am surprised and shocked that they are named. And why was someone like Kaveem Hodge, what Kaveem Hodge need to do to be in this team? And if you are looking at players to get exposure in Bangladesh, why isn't it Naheem Young is in this squad? Those are two players who I definitely think, there are others that I definitely think that should be in the squad. For example, what is the case with Shea Hope? Is it that you have already decided that Shea Hope will be in the next squad, so you do not need to send him to Bangladesh? Or is it that you have cut off Shea Hope? Recently, Desmond Haynes said that he's still looking at Shea Hope. Is it that Shea Hope went to England and made 2 off centuries for Yorkshire? That is enough for Desmond Haynes to make a decision that Shea Hope should be in the test squad? Shea Hope only averages 25. So is it that you have made a decision or you needed to look more at Shea Hope? Arsenal still leading 1-0. Or is it that you need to look more at Shea Hope or you have made the decision that he's already in the test team? These things are baffling. I cannot understand the direction in which West Indies cricket is going, especially by the selectors. I am hearing from very good source that by all intent and purpose, Desmond Haynes is a law unto himself. Now, who signed off on this team? Was it Jimmy Adams that signed off on this team? Is that the policy of cricket West Indies? That the director of cricket signed off on the team? Or is it Dr. Shallow who signed off on the team? I saw where Dr. Shallow fired Shirley Clark for losing 7 matches, for not winning any of his last 7 matches when Shirley Clark was the coach of the Windward Islands. What now is Dr. Shallow is going to do when the West Indies selectors continue to make these mistakes and select poor teams? And when the team is not winning? And who is the coach of this team that is going to Bangladesh? Who is the coach? A squad has been named, but yet no coach has been named. Maybe, as I said, I don't hear everything. So maybe they have selected a coach. Who is the coach? Come on, Cricket West Indies. It is time that you step up your A game. It is time that Cricket West Indies step up their A game. We are expecting better. It's a new administration. Come on, Dr. Shallow. We expect you to be a little better than this. Now, welcome to the show and thank you. Good morning, the champion. This should be another good comment. I hope it is the champion. Good afternoon, Mr. Cricket Forum. Thank you. Thank you, Brian H. Good afternoon. Crystal, how are you today? Good afternoon, Mr. Cricket Forum. Kaveem Hodge should be on the A team for sure. He averages 44. I think so too, Petrus Francis. Chase should be in the West Indies team, Lon. I don't think so, Bobby, but as I said, you are free to your opinion, just like me. Thank you. Respect. Bobby Burns, I like Carty, but he's not done himself any justice over the past year. He should have stayed home. Bobby Burns, I think that even the most loyal supporters of Carty, even his biggest fans, were shocked at the selection of Carty, especially ahead of someone like Kaveem Hodge. It is shocking, this selection policy. 2 for Arsenal. Yes, Arsenal is now 2 up. Thank you for that, Brian H. We cover all the sports on this show during our live broadcast. Yes, it is shocking that Kavim Aj outperformed Carty in the regional 4-day cricket tournament. He outperformed him in last year's regional 50 over tournament. And you may say, why refer to 50 over tournament when we're talking about red ball cricket? I'm showing the trend of his performances. And if you recall, Desmond Haynes, when he selected Athenaeus for the team to go to South Africa, he did refer to Athenaeus' performance in the white ball series. So therefore, clearly, Desmond Haynes take notice of performances in white ball cricket in our regional 50 over cricket when he's speaking the test team. So in the last 3 series that Kavim Aj and Casey Carty played together, Kavim Aj made more runs than Casey Carty. He bowled some useful left arm spin. He made more runs than him in the regional 4-day cricket tournament, more runs than him in the regional Super 50 tournament, more runs than him in the recently concluded week's ended tri-series, and yet still Kavim Aj is at home and Casey Carty is on his way to Bangladesh. I just need some justification for this selection. If you are selecting Casey Carty, fine. But why haven't you selected Kavim Aj? I do not understand. And Aj played decently in Edley Weeks. He did. West Indies cricket problem is them selectors. It's more than them selectors. To be honest, Petrus, the selectors are a part of it, but it's more than just the selectors. The next issue that I would like to look at is that on May 3, Cricket West Indies released this statement to the media. Cricket visits to Caribbean venues that are contemplating submitting proposals to host ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 matches starts on Wednesday, the 26th of April. That's a part of a statement that Cricket West Indies released to the public on the 3rd of May. They released this statement after the process have started. And clearly, no one knew about it except Cricket West Indies. Which stadium have they visited so far? Have they visited any stadium? And was this a secret that these stadiums get first preference for visiting? It was the 3rd of May that Cricket West Indies released this statement saying that the inspection by a small team starts on the 26th of April. Cricket West Indies need to step up their A game. This is very poor from the media department. And Mr. Spooner is doing a very good job. But I think he dropped the ball on this one. This release should have come out. You cannot make the release after the thing has started. And the government of these territorial countries, when did they know that the inspection starts on the 26th of April? Was it the same day that the release was made? Because I only heard the Jamaican government start talking about it after the release was made. Someone in the chat said that Arsenal is leading 2-0, but my screen is still showing me 1-0. Are you sure about that, Brian H? Now, speaking about cricket World Cup in the West Indies, the Jamaica government, they intend. They did not say that they are going to bid. And I understand this is a process. In relation, this is the Minister of Sport, Bob Zagrain, speaking. Yes, it's 2-0. Thank you, Brian H. My screen is just showing 2-0. I'm way behind you, sir. Way behind you. In relation to the World Cup, we are interested. We are looking at the numbers and I am discussion with Billy Avon, the president of the Jamaica Cricket Control. So there's a Minister of Sport in Jamaica. He said that Jamaica intend, not that Jamaica have submitted a bid, but Jamaica intend to submit a bid and they are looking at the numbers. She further went on to state, a letter was written to the Prime Minister by Cricket West Indies. We are looking at the numbers and having discussions. That word numbers come up again. The bid is coming up very shortly because the bid closed July 31st, I think. It's coming up very shortly and we have to make a decision very soon. But it is something we would like to do. So Jamaica would like to do it, but they intend to do it, but they have not yet submitted a bid. And I'm telling you, one of the challenges that Jamaica is going to face, and I'm not blaming anyone here because I do not really know how it reached to that. But looking at Sabina Park would require about 45 million Jamaican dollars to bring it up to world-class standard. At least 45 million US dollars. That is my estimate. There are some things that need to be done at Sabina Park to bring it up to world-class standard. So some of the requirements for hosting matches in the World Cup is that you need to provide a world-class venue to stage the matches and equally world-class training facilities. They said provide immigration and custom, medical and security support. That too, we are good at that. Jamaica is very good at that. We are good at that. My issues is with Sabina Park. I think, in my estimation, and I'm not a real estate person or a builder or anything, but in my estimation, it requires about 45 million Jamaican dollars to bring this Sabina Park up to the level of a world-class facility. When it comes to logistics requirement like accommodation and transport, Jamaica is the best in the world when it comes to accommodation. We have some of the best hotels, if not the best hotels, on the north coast of Jamaica, and we are very proud of providing accommodation. So I hope that Jamaica will bid for this tournament, and I'm looking forward to watching World Cup matches in Jamaica. The last time the T20 tournament World Cup was staged in the West Indies, Jamaica did not get any of the matches. Just let me take a quick look at your comment. Yes, I have West Indies cricket problem. Yes, I am sure. 0-2, own goal. I'm seeing it now, Brian H. Thank you very much. I'm seeing it. The champion, how you doing? See that Brian needs to understand that leaving out players that perform well may hurt that player's confidence. And that is true. What do you tell Kavim Aj? What do you tell someone like Naeem Young? It is clear that in selecting the West Indies team, what do you tell Brian Charles? In selecting the West Indies team, there's not a clear policy. To me, it seems that the West Indies team is selected on spirit take at the moment. What's the flavor of the moment? It doesn't seem like it is picked on performances. Because if this team was picked on performances, a number of those players, at least 7 of those players, would not be in that squad for that 18 tour. Wow, that's a ton of money for upgrades if you are correct. Brian H., that is my assessment of it. And as I said, I'm no expert in the field. But just looking at Sabina Parks and looking at the interior of the structure, it's going to cost about anywhere between 40 to 45 million dollars. Could not just be that. Casey Carty is a younger player, so they wanted to go with young, with most of the new guys. It could be that, but when does age should be a factor in picking a West Indies team? It is not an age group team. If it was an age group team, I could understand. But if you're picking your team, isn't that discrimination to say because Aj is just 30 years old, Casey's 26, approaching 27. That's not much difference. And that if you're selecting your team not based on performances, but based on age, is that discrimination? Because it should be the sole reason for selecting a team. Performances, not age. CWI needs more, sure, they need more 18 tours, especially to places like Australia and England. They also need under 19 tours. They also need, please remember to slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. So Cricket West Indies also need under 19 tours, not only 18 tours. The regional CG United Super 50 tournament for the female starts on Tuesday. I'm just going to make a quick run through of the squad. So they're scrolling across the bottom is the squad for the Barbados team. So the Barbados team is scrolling across the bottom. That's the Barbados squad. As you've seen that squad, it includes Ailey Matthews for the 50 over tournament. However, Ailey Matthews will not play in the T20 tournament. After the 50 over tournament, Ailey Matthews will not be there. What is very interesting though, and we see that Corey Collmore, we are glad that Corey Collmore is the head coach of the Barbados team. He brings a lot of experience, and the word going around is that Corey Collmore is one of the more technical, astute coach in the West Indies. The Guyana team, which will be captained by Sherman Camber, the Guyana team to be captained by Camber, and it's included the under-19 captain, Ashimin Munisar. She's a very good player, and it's very good to see Munisar in that Guyana 50 over team. Camber will captain the team. We have not heard about Sherry Ann Fraser. It's good to see that Sherry Ann Fraser is back. She was injured the other day, and it was good to see her back. The head coach of the team will be Clive Grimman. So Clive Grimman will be the head coach of the Guyana team. And so I was expecting Rashada Williams to be the captain of the Jamaica team, but Stephanie Taylor is still in that position. And so Rashada Williams, more than likely, will be your vice captain. Remember that Jamaica is the defending champion for this tournament. There's one young lady that I especially want you to watch out for. Look at this name, Sharika Shelton from the Jamaica team. Look out for Sharika Shelton. And it's one of the good things about these teams is that when you look through these teams, all the players that were in the under-19 female World Cup, they are in the team. And so there is the Leeward Islands team going across the screen. And this is another very strong team, and they have included their under-19 players in their team too for this tournament. So it's very good. I do not know if it is instruction from Cricket West Indies that they should be been included. The head coach is Percy Daniel. So we wish all the teams well. Trinidad and Tobago, they call themselves the Trinidad and Tobago Divas. And Anisa Mohammed is off for a break. Remember that Anisa Mohammed was on an 18-month break. She's back off for a break now, and she will come to captain this team, another very experienced team, another team that include their under-19 players in their squad. The team is scrolling across the bottom there, and the head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago Divas is Gabran Mohammed. So the final team, and Affley Fletcher will lead this team, and it includes a very, very, very impressive Zayda James. You remember that Zayda James was one of the standout players at the under-19 World Cup, and we wish her well. We hope that she will continue to improve. They call her a tomboy. I think her sister, Zayda James, twin sister, is in mothering, so it cannot be further apart. Maybe it should have been, I won't say that. But head coach is Samantha Lynch. So Samantha Lynch is the head coach. Please slash a like on the video and click on the subscribe button. And please click on those links in the video description and get some wonderful presents for those special ladies in your life for next week Sunday, which is Mother Days. MPEC TV, welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in and all. I'm going to play a cricket match today. It's the start of the SDC cricket competition. My match starts at 2 o'clock Jamaica time, just about another hour and 40 minutes from now. So I'm going to play, it's a community cricket competition in Jamaica. And so all communities can enter this competition. It's the biggest competition in Jamaica. It is sponsored by the Social Development Commission. My match is at 2 o'clock. It's a T20 competition, and I'm going to have a crack. I hope we bring it home. God bless, one love, and have a great day. See you all tomorrow.